Take a listen to today's native speaker. He uses a few tricky expressions which might stop you from understanding most of it. Don't worry if you only understand 40, 50, 60%, because afterwards we're going to check everything and find out what we didn't catch. If you're ready, let's take a listen.
Everyone has their crutches, man, so don't worry about it. I eat pretty healthily, but for me it's coffee. It's probably more psychological at this point, but just before I get to the office, I'm like, I need my fix. At least I don't add sugar. That's my only saving grace. Also, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said that if you can go without caffeine for the first couple of hours after you wake up and have some water first, then you're not going to get that crash so bad in the afternoon. I can't remember the science behind it, but so far I can vouch for it.
Okay, so I'm sure there's some gaps in there that you didn't understand, but that's okay. Firstly, can you understand the main point? Could you tell me what he was talking about in just one sentence? If he said something like talking about how much coffee he drinks, some morning habits, something like that, that is great. That is a great starting point. So now let's go into the details. While we go into them, let's try and answer this question. Does the speaker drink coffee regularly? It sounds like a simple question, but there's a couple of expressions you need to know in order to answer that. So let's take a look. He started by saying, everyone has their crutches, man, so don't worry about it. Now, we need to know what a crutch is. A crutch physically, literally, are the things that people would use if they had like a broken leg or couldn't walk. But we use it figuratively to mean something that you rely on, something that you need all the time. This is usually a negative thing. Shy people might have one or two drinks as a social crutch. They feel like they need it in order to be sociable. I eat pretty healthily, but for me it's coffee. So I'm guessing the person he's talking to, maybe their crutch is unhealthy food. Maybe it's fast food, they get too many takeaways, but he's saying for himself, it's coffee. That's already a pretty big clue for our question, does he drink coffee regularly? I'm thinking yes, but he does go on a little bit more. It's probably more psychological at this point. Psychological meaning a habit rather than something your body physically needs. But just before I get to the office, I'm like, I need my fix. And this expression pairs very nicely with the first one. It makes sense that you would use both of them. It means a kind of addiction, something you need for a boost or relief. So he's saying that he needs coffee every time he gets to the office so that he has enough energy to get through the day, basically. He's probably meaning this in a joking way, but he definitely feels like he needs it. I missed the football match, so I watched the highlights just to get my fix. You can see that natives often use this in a way of any kind of addiction. This person's addicted to football. So putting these two together, we can answer, yes, he definitely drinks coffee regularly. He also said, at least I don't add sugar. That's my only saving grace. Does that make sense to you? A saving grace is one good thing that comes out of an otherwise bad situation. So he's drinking too much coffee. It's not good. The only good thing about his habits is that he doesn't add sugar. If he added sugar, that would make it worse in his opinion. The only saving grace is that the job pays well. So in this example sentence, this is a terrible job. Maybe it's not flexible. Maybe it's very stressful. It's far away. It's a long commute. But the only good thing about it is it pays well. This is when natives use the expression saving grace. And it's very similar to silver lining, if you're familiar with that. So that was the first part of what he said. Let's look at the second question. What does he say you should do to avoid a caffeine crash? We all know that feeling a few hours after having a coffee or some kind of energy drink that our energy suddenly goes away again. That is what he means by a crash. How should you avoid it? By the way, at any time, please use the chapters in the video to go back and listen one more time. Then you can come straight back easily to question 2. So he says there were 2 things. Let's take a look at what they are. He said, also, I don't know if it's true or not, but I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said that if you can go without caffeine for the first couple of hours after you wake up and have some water first, then you're not going to get that crash so bad in the afternoon. So he spoke pretty quickly here, and it was a long sentence to keep up with, but there's two main points to answer our question. First, waiting a couple of hours, and having some water first before you drink the coffee. And for our third question, we need to fully understand the very last thing he said. Has this advice worked for him personally? So at the end, he says, I can't remember the science behind it, meaning the exact details, the facts that he learned. He can't remember that, but so far I can vouch for it. And when a native says to vouch for something, you can use this, by the way, for a person. You can vouch for a person if you've known them for a long time. It's saying that it's good or trustworthy based on your own experience. That's the key point there. I can vouch for this method. It's how I became fluent. You can't say you vouch for something if you've never tried it for yourself. So if he says he can vouch for it, that definitely answers question 3. Has it worked for him personally? Yes, it has. He might not know all of the details. He might not be able to explain the science, but he can vouch for it himself. And now, did you get the speaker's accent? It was quite a strong accent, but he also spoke quite clearly, I thought, even if he was a bit fast at times. Yeah, he's from New Zealand, so that's another medal that you can add to your collection of accents, ready to explore the world and start speaking to natives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.